Hi everyone, this is Dr. S.M. Badger. Today we are going to see about Dr. Johnson's defense of Shakespeare, a timeless vindication. Today I am going to talk about one of the most remarkable essay in English literary criticism, Dr. Samuel Johnson's Preface to Shakespeare. Written in 1765 as an introduction to his edition of Shakespeare's play, Johnson's preface is not merely a piece of criticism, it is a monumental defense of Shakespeare's Genesis. In this work, Dr. Johnson raises above his great rules of his age, the age of Neoclassicism, and urges to Shakespeare's greatness lies not in his obedience to classical form, but in its truthful poetry of human nature. This defense is timeless because it doesn't just protect Shakespeare's reputation in 18th century, it ensures his immortality for all generation to come. The understanding Johnson's defense, we need just understand the world Shakespeare belonged to. The Elizabethan era from 1558 to 1603 was one of the most glorious period in English literature, an age of political stability, expanding trade, and cultural brilliance. Theatres flourished and drama became the most popular form of entertainment. Playwrights like Christopher Marlowe and Ben Jonson laid the foundation of English drama, but it was William Shakespeare who transcended them all. In this dynamic atmosphere, Shakespeare emerged as the voice of the human condition, exploring love, ambition, jealousy, revenge, and morality with unparalleled depth. His works reflected life as it's lived, not as theory dictated, and this, Dr. Johnson later urged, was the source of this greatness. Now let's shift to Dr. Samuel Johnson's world a century and a half later. Johnson lived in the 18th century, the age of enlightenment, a period that valued reason, clarity, and structure above all. Critics of this great time followed neoclassical principles derived from Greek and Roman models. They believed art should follow strict rules such as the unities of time, place, and action, and the principle of decorum, which demanded the characteristics speak and act in ways appropriate to the social status. Shakespeare, however, broke all these rules. He mixed comedy, tragedy, ignored and unity, and portrayed kings and clowns with human values. As a result, many 18th century critics dismissed this undisciplined and irregular, and it was his intellectual climate that Johnson rose to defend Shakespeare with courage, balance, and wisdom. At the heart of Johnson's defense lies his most famous phrase, Shakespeare is the poet of nature. Johnson argued the Shakespeare's greatness lies in the portrayal of universe human nature. He doesn't re-idealize or distort his presence as his characters are not stereotypes and moral symbols. They are living, breathing individuals who think, feel, and are just like us. Shakespeare's heroes and villains are complex and contradictory, filled with both virtue and flaws, just like human reals begins. His plot involves organically, not mechanically, mirroring the nature rhythm of life. Moreover, Shakespeare evolves genuine empathy. We laugh, his fools weep, and his lover and fears for his kings. Psychological realm was in Johnson's view that made Shakespeare timeless. He didn't just create stories, he created mirrors of humanity. What makes Johnson create a criticism so impressive is his fairness. He didn't blindly praise Shakespeare, he acknowledged his flaws, but he explained them with reason and understanding. Violation of unities, mixtures of tragedy and comedy, lack of epic morality. These 3 points, Johnson transformed criticism from rule-bound judgment to human-centered understanding. Johnson also highlighted the universal appeal of Shakespeare's work, one of the strongest proofs of his greatness. He noted that Shakespeare plays transcend time, place, and culture. Themes like love, ambition, jealousy, betrayal, and power are just relevant as they were in Elizabethan England. Whether we watch Othello in London, Hamlet in Tokyo, or Macbeth in New York, we see our own emotion reflected on stage. This universality is what Johnson believed made Shakespeare all for men in all ages. Furthermore, Shakespeare adaptability is unmatched. His plays are constantly being reimagined as film, operas, modern drama, or even school performance, proving that his art speaks to every generation. Dr. Johnson preface to Shakespeare is not just an essay, it turns points a literary criticism. First, it became a foundational work, setting the tone for modern approaches to literature. Instead of judging writers by fixing classical standards, Johnson encouraged critical understanding to human truth behind the art. Second, his human approach shifted attention from mechanical rule to emotional and moral insight. He opened the door for literal critic like Coleridge, Hazlitt, and Am to appreciate depth rather than its deviation. Third, Johnson Preface offered a definitive vindication of Shakespeare's Genesis. It freed him from centuries of neoclassical prejudices and established him as England's national poet. And even today, when we study Shakespeare, we still reading him through Johnson's eyes, seeing the balance of moral realism, artist freedom, and universal truth. To conclude, Dr. Johnson's preface to Shakespeare is more than literary criticism. It is a timeless vindication of human creativity itself. Johnson defends Shakespeare not by claiming he was perfect, but by showing that its imperfection were part of his human genesis. By focusing on Shakespeare's understanding of human nature, Johnson made him immoral, the poetic of nature, whose art belonged not to one age but to all time. Thank you.